Those who practice the Dhamma should train themselves to understand in the following stages. The training that is easy to learn, gives immediate results, and is suitable for every time, every place, for people of every age and either sex, is to study in the school of this body, a fathom long, a cubit wide, and a span thick, with its perceiving mind in charge. The body has many things, ranging from the crude to the subtle, that are well worth knowing. To begin with, know that the body is composed of various physical properties, the major ones being the properties of earth, water, fire, and wind, the minor ones being the aspects that adhere to the major ones, things like color, smell, and shape. These properties are unstable, stressful, and unclean. If you look into them deeply, you'll see that there's no substance to them at all. They are simply impersonal conditions, with nothing worth calling me or mine. When you can clearly perceive the body in these terms, you will be able to let go of any clinging or attachment to it as an entity, yourself, someone else, this or that. The second step is to deal with mental phenomena, feelings, perceptions, thought fabrications, and consciousness. Focus on keeping track of the truth, that these are characterized by arising, persisting, and then disbanding. In other words, their nature is to arise and disband repeatedly. When you investigate to see this truth, you will be able to let go of your attachments to mental phenomena as entities, as yourself, someone else, this or that. Training on the level of practice doesn't simply mean studying, listening, or reading. You have to practice so as to see clearly with your own mind in the following steps. Start out by brushing aside all external concerns and turn to look inside at your own mind until you can know in what ways it is clear or murky, calm or unsettled. The way to do this is to have mindfulness and alertness in charge as you keep aware of the body and mind until you've trained the mind to stay firmly in a state of normalcy, neutrality. Once the mind can stay in a state of normalcy, you will see mental fabrications or preoccupations in their natural state of arising and disbanding. The mind will be empty, neutral and still, neither pleased nor displeased, and will see physical and mental phenomena as they arise and disband naturally of their own accord. When the knowledge that there is no self to any of these things becomes thoroughly clear, you'll meet with something that lies further inside, beyond all suffering and stress, free from the cycles of change, deathless, free from birth as well as death, since all things that take birth must by nature age, grow ill, and die. When you see this truth clearly, the mind will be empty, not holding on to anything. It won't even assume itself to be a mind or anything at all. In other words, it won't latch on to itself as being anything of any sort. All that remains is a pure condition of Dhamma. Those who see this pure condition of Dhamma in full clarity are bound to grow disenchanted with the repeated sufferings of life. When they know the truth of the world and the Dhamma throughout, they will see the results clearly, right in the present, that there exists that which lies beyond all suffering. They will know this without having to ask or take it on faith from anyone, for the Dhamma is pachatang, something really to be known for oneself. Those who have seen this truth within themselves will attest to it always. For those of you who have never sat in meditation, here is how it's done. Fold your legs, one on top of the other, but don't cut off the nerves or the blood flow, or else the breath energy in your legs will stagnate and cause you pain. Sit straight and place your hands, one on top of the other, on your lap. Hold your head up straight and keep your back straight too, as if you had a yardstick sticking down your spine. You have to work at keeping it straight, you know. Don't spend the time slouching down and then stretching up again, or else the mind won't be able to settle down and be still. Keep the body straight and your mindfulness firmly with the breath. However coarse or refined your breath may be, simply breathe in naturally. You don't have to force the breath or tense your body. Simply breathe in and out in a relaxed way. Only then will the mind begin to settle down. As soon as the breath grows normally refined and the mind has begun to settle down, focus your attention on the mind itself. If it slips off elsewhere or any thoughts come in to intrude, simply know right there at the mind, know the mind, right at the mind, with every in and out breath, for the entire hour. When you focus on the breath, using the breath as a leash to tie the mind in place so that it doesn't go wandering off, you have to use your endurance. That is, you have to endure pain. For example, when you sit for a long time, there's going to be pain because you've never sat for so long before. So first, make sure that you keep the mind normal and neutral. When pain arises, don't focus on the pain. Let go of it as much as you can. Let go of it and focus on your mind. For those of you who've never done this before, it may take a while. Whenever any pain or anything arises, if the mind is affected by craving or defilement, it'll struggle because it doesn't want the pain. All it wants is pleasure. This is where you have to be patient and endure the pain, because pain is something that has to occur. If there's pleasure, don't get enthralled with it. If there's pain, don't push it away. Start out by keeping the mind neutral as your basic stance. Then, whenever pleasure or pain arises, don't get pleased or upset. Keep the mind continuously neutral and figure out how to let go. If there's a lot of pain, you have to endure it and then relax your attachments. Don't think of the pain as being your pain. Let it be the pain of the body, the pain of nature. If the mind latches tight onto anything, it really suffers. It struggles. So here we patiently endure and let go. You have to practice so that you're really good at handling pain. If you can let go of physical pain, you'll be able to let go of all sorts of other sufferings and pains as well. Keep watching the pain, knowing the pain, letting it go. Once you can let it go, you don't have to use a lot of endurance. It takes a lot of endurance only at the beginning. Once the pain arises, separate the mind from it. Let it be the pain of the body. Don't let the mind be pained too. This is something that requires equanimity. If you can maintain equanimity in the face of pleasure or pain, it can make the mind peaceful even though the pain is pain. The mind keeps knowing, enduring the pain, so as to let go. After you've worked at this for a good while, you'll come to see how important the ways of the mind are. The mind may be hard to train, but if you keep training it, if you have the time, you can practice at home, at night, or early in the morning, keeping watch on your mind. You'll gain the understanding that comes from mindfulness and discernment. Those who don't train the mind like this go through life, birth, aging, illness, and death, not knowing a thing about the mind at all. When you know your own mind, then, when any really heavy illness comes along, the fact that you know your mind will make the pain less and less. But this is something you have to work at doing correctly. It's not easy. Yet once the mind is well trained, there's no match for it. It can do away with pain and suffering and doesn't get restless and agitated. It grows still and cool, refreshed and blooming, right there within itself. So try to experience this still, quiet mind. This is a really important skill to develop because it will make craving, defilement, and attachment grow weaker and weaker. All of us have defilements, you know. Greed, anger, and delusion cloud all of our hearts. If we haven't trained ourselves in meditation, our hearts are constantly burning with suffering and stress. Even the pleasure we feel over external things is pleasure only in half measures, because there's suffering and stress in the delusion that thinks it's pleasure. As for the pleasure that comes from the practice, it's a cool pleasure that lets go of everything, really free from any sense of me or mine. I ask that you reach the Dhamma that is the real meat inside this thing, undisturbed by defilement, undisturbed by pain or anything else. Even though there's pain in the body, you have to figure out how to let it go. The body is simply the four elements: earth, water, wind, and fire. It has to keep showing its inconstancy and stressfulness. So keep your mindfulness neutral at equanimity. Let the mind be above its feelings, above pleasure, above pain, above everything. All it really takes is endurance and relinquishment, letting things go, seeing that they're not us, not ours. This is a point you have to hammer at over and over again. When we say you have to endure, you really have to endure. Don't be willing to surrender. Craving is going to keep coming up and whispering, telling you to change things, to try for this or that kind of pleasure. But don't listen to it. You have to listen to the Buddha who tells you to let go of craving. Otherwise, craving will plaster and paint things over. The mind will struggle and won't be able to settle down. So you have to give it your all. Look at this hour as a special hour, special in that you're using special endurance to keep watch on your own heart and mind.